We don't have an endless flow of money. We're in the middle class. We have maybe $3,000 to $4,000 a month, maybe $5,000 a month. And a lot of it's eaten up by the big three: your housing, your food, and your transportation. So we can't just go out here spending money willy-nilly. We have to put thoughts into the things that we buy. Ever wonder why your paycheck disappears as soon as you get it? It's actually 10 money traps that is quietly draining the middle class. So let's call them out. The first one is living beyond your means. You can't build wealth with money that you don't have. So if you're spending more money than you actually bring in a month, then you're living beyond your means, and eventually you're gonna run out. And then what happens when you run out? That's when you fall for all the middle class traps that we're gonna talk about. That's when you start falling for credit card debt. So you can supplement the money that you're bringing in. So if we want to avoid this middle class trap, we need to live within our means. That means budgeting, the 50-30-20 rule, spending 50% on your needs, 30% on your wants, and 20% on savings or paying off debt. Living within your means is non-negotiable. It's something that we have to do. When we start living outside our means, that's when we start living like the Joneses. When we live like our next door neighbor that we don't know their financial situation, but they have a nice house, they have a nice car, so we need to get a nice house and a nice car. Then you start living out your means, and then you're not able to afford the things that you pay for. You become house poor. There's all kind of things that happen when you start to live outside of your means. So you want to stay within your means, stay within your budget. If you're making $4,000 a month, then we need to save a certain amount of that money and then spend that money elsewhere in places that matter and not waste money, especially in the middle class where we don't make enough to be super blessed financially and we make too much to get government assistance. You have to be very particular with the money we have and where we spend it. And the second money trap for the middle class is credit card debt. If you buy a $50 dinner on a credit card that's 24%, you'll pay $70 by the time you pay that off for that meal. So we want to stay out of credit card debt. And if you do have a credit card, then we need to pay these credit cards off every single month. These things keep you in the middle class. Credit card debt keeps you in the middle class because you're overpaying for the purchases that you purchase with the credit card, especially if you're not paying off. And instead of this extra money going to investments or real estate, wherever you want to put it, is going to credit cards. So to get out the middle class, we need to invest. We need to invest to ourselves. We need to invest to the stock market. We need to invest to real estate. But we can't do that if we have majority of our money going to credit cards. We have a majority of our extra money going to credit cards. And the third money trap is not saving for retirement. This is so crazy that some people don't save for retirement. And if you're looking at this video and you're not saving for retirement, then you need to change your mindset because retirement can be right around the corner. Yes, you're only 20. Yes, you're only 30. And you might be 30 or 40 years from retirement, but it will be here before you know it. You don't have to work till you're 65. You don't have to work till you're 70. You don't want to have to work your whole entire life because you have not saved for retirement when you were younger or you didn't take it seriously. If we're going to get out of the middle class, there's nothing wrong with being in the middle class. A lot of people are in the middle class. I'm in the middle class. But you need to invest into your future. You need to invest into your retirement. Retirement is going to happen for you. It's going to happen for me. And we want to be ready for when it does happen. My retirement's in 20 years. 20 years. That'll be here before you know it. Future you is screaming right now. So if you don't have a 401k, you don't have a Roth IRA, we need to start that now. We need to open one now. And there's no excuse, especially in 2025, to not have a Roth IRA, to not have a brokerage account, because the resources are all there. You can go on ChatGPT right now and ask how to open a Roth IRA, and ChatGPT will give you a step-by-step guide on how to do it. There's YouTube videos, there's articles. All of the information is out there. You just have to want to do it. You have to put in the effort. You have to put in the time so that you can retire at a decent age, because I personally don't want to work till 60. I got to put in the work now and also live my life now, but I got to put in the work now so that I can retire in the future. And you should definitely put in this work as well. The stock market, you're getting 7 to 10% return on your money, but when you're paying to these credit cards, they're getting a 24% return on money. They're getting a 30% return on their money. So it works in their favor way more than it works in your favor. Like it's literally no benefit towards you. You're just wasting money, honestly. And especially if you get started now, then compound interest will work in your favor. The earlier you start, the more your account will grow. And once these accounts start building up, because when you start off, it's tough because your accounts are not building as much as you would like. Once your money starts stacking on each other, they start compounding on each other. And then before you know it, the money that you contribute to the account be less than the amount of money that's compounded. That's just how compound interest works. The more money you get in there, the more it compounds and grows. It's really a crazy thing to see. So start investing now. It's never too early to invest. And just because, you're 20 years old, retirement is 30 years from now. No, we need to start investing now so we can set our future selves up so we can be financially free eventually. And the fourth money class trap is no emergency fund. Now, when you're in the middle class, like I said, you don't have enough money to live that financially amazing life. We make too much money to get government assistance. So we need to have an emergency fund. Even if you're in the upper class or lower class, wherever you are, you need to have an emergency fund because emergencies will happen. And when they do, we want to have this money at our disposal. We don't want to have to pull out of our retirement to pay for an emergency. We don't want to have to go open a credit card at 30% interest to pay for an emergency. You want to have that money in a high yield savings account. There's plenty of high yield savings accounts out there that give you a higher return on your money than a normal savings account, but we need to have an emergency fund. I prefer a 3 to 6 month. Calculate your bare bone expenses. We're not talking about food or entertainment. We're talking about rent or your mortgage. We're talking about your bills, your water bill, your electricity bill, insurance. All the things that you need to live should be calculated into a monthly number. And then we're going to multiply that by 3 or 6. And that will get you your 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Now, this may look like a lot of money, and it's going to be, but I promise you that it's worth it for if you ever lost your job or you ever have some car issues that happen, your car engine fails or whatever. You have this money set aside so that you can then deploy it to wherever you need. Now, your emergency fund is different than, your daily savings account. This is only for emergencies. We're not pulling from emergency fund for recreational things because we need this money when an emergency happens because it's going to happen. And the fifth money trap is impulse buying. So you're at Target, you're at Walmart, you're at Best Buy. You didn't go in there planning on buying this high price item, but you do. You buy this expensive MacBook laptop that you probably didn't need because you had one at home, but was a little bit older, but you buy it and you spend $300. Well, MacBooks are like $900 to $1,000. You spend $1,000 and say they offer you a credit card for 20% off. So now you put it on the credit card. Impulse buy. You want to avoid that, especially if we're just trying to scrape by. We want to be smart with our money and we want to be very calculated on the things that we spend with our money because we don't have an endless flow of money. We're in the middle class. We have maybe $3,000 to $4,000 a month, maybe $5,000 a month. And a lot of it's eaten up by the big three, your housing, your food, and your transportation. So we can't just go out here spending money willy-nilly. We have to put thoughts into the things that we buy. So if you do see an item that you want, you can give it a week, give it a few days, and then revisit whether you really want that item or not. In the sixth money trap, draining the middle class, is keeping up with the Joneses. Now, we talked about this in the first one, living beyond your means. Keeping up with the Joneses is basically the same thing. Keeping up with your next door neighbor, keeping up with your coworker. Your coworker bought a house. You want to have a nice house too because you feel like you should, or they said you should, or they say you should look into this. We're doing this, you should do that. Keeping up with the Joneses. We want to focus on our financial priorities. We want to focus on our financial life, and we can't look at other people and live like them because we don't know their situation. We don't know how much money they're making. They might have the same job as we do, but they might have a spouse that works that makes more money. They might have financial assistance from parents, from aunts, uncles. We don't know. They might have money that was given to. We have no idea. So we can't keep up with anyone out here. We can't live to impress people. We're not trying to impress people at a red light that we're never going to see again. We're going to stay within our financial plans, and you have to have a financial plan. You have to have your financial future plan out at least 5-10 years from now, because when you're just living for today, this is when you fall for these traps. And honestly, this is something that I fall for a lot. The social media aspect of keeping up with the Joneses. I'll see someone driving this nice car, or I'll see someone going with this nice trip, and I'm like, how can they do this? Sometimes you get envious because you wish that was you. Dig deep and look inside yourself and realize what you want. Try your best to stick to your goals, and I think that will help you a lot. And the seventh money trap is paying only minimum on your debts. If you pay only minimum on your debts, you're most likely going to be in debt for the rest of your life because on a daily basis, you're putting more on your credit card than you're paying off. So if you want to be in debt for the rest of your life, then you want to pay the minimums. But if you want to get out of debt, if you want to start investing to your future, then you want to pay off way more than the minimum. Put yourself on a financial schedule. If you want to pay these cards off in a year or 2 or 3 years, then you need to pay enough money a month so that this card will be paid off at the time that you chose. So pay extra when you can. Maybe we stop investing right now, especially if we're high credit card debt, and put more money towards credit cards because, like I said, in the market, you're getting a 7 to 10% rate of return. Credit card debt, the credit card companies are getting a 28% return, 30, 40% return on their money that you're paying them. So we need to pay more towards these credit cards so we can get out of debt, because it's a losing game if you're investing and paying off debt. So pay extra when you can, but you can also try the avalanche method, which is paying off the highest interest rate first and putting the minimums at the rest, or the snowball method, which is paying off the lowest balance first and putting the minimums at the rest. Pick one, stick to it, don't think about it too much, because the true goal is just to get out of credit card debt. We're not over here stressing about where to put the money. Put as much money towards the debt and pay it off as fast as possible so we can start investing into our future. And the eighth money trap is skipping insurance. Like I said, emergencies are going to happen, and you want to have insurance in place to help afford these emergencies. If you don't have health insurance, life insurance, car insurance, then you'll most likely be held liable for the full price of whatever emergency happens. So if you get in an accident, you're going to be held liable at full price if you don't have car insurance, because your car insurance is supposed to help you pay a certain amount of money for certain things. Same with health insurance. If you go to the emergency room and you don't have health insurance, yes, you're paying a certain premium a month, but the amount that you're paying for this premium is most likely way less than the amount that the hospital bill would be. When we had our baby, the cost of having our baby was like $20,000. We pay a good amount for insurance monthly, but we don't pay $20,000 a month. We don't pay $20,000 in a year for insurance. Maybe over a few years you pay that, but I don't want to pay $20,000. I'm not able to pay $20,000 to the hospital because we had a baby. I can't do that. But we pay insurance, and the insurance then pays a certain portion of the hospital bill. Life insurance is super important. I have a term policy for $1 million. So if I were to pass away, my wife and kid will get $1 million and help cushion the finances for if something were to happen to me, because I am the main breadwinner. I do bring in the most money in the house. And if something were to happen to me, then who knows what will happen to them. But it's good knowing that they'll at least have something to be able to pay the house off, to be able to even invest into their future if they chose to. So you want to have your insurances in place. This helps you soften the cushion of emergencies for when they happen. In the ninth money trap, draining the middle class, is not budgeting. We're not tracking our expenses. We're just going to the store. We're spending whatever we want. We don't know how much we're spending on bills. We don't know how much we're spending on our credit cards. We're just living life. And in the middle class, we can't afford to just live life because, like I said, we don't have that much money. One of the best budgets is the 50-30-20 rule. Super simple. 50% of your money goes to your needs, 30% goes to your wants, and 20% goes to saving and debt. Awareness equals control. So when you're aware where your money is going, it's easier for you to have control over your financial situation. And the 10th money trap is not learning about money. There's no excuse to not learn about money. Like I said, you can go on ChatGPT, Google, YouTube. There's millions of articles out there teaching you about certain things when it comes to finances. There's no way that you just say, oh, I just didn't know, or I'm not very smart when it comes to money. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to money, because if you want to be knowledgeable, then you would. You're knowledgeable in other areas. You're knowledgeable when it comes to crocheting. You're knowledgeable when it comes to cooking. You're knowledgeable when it comes to playing games. You're knowledgeable when it comes to TV, Love Island, all these kind of things, but you're not knowledgeable when it comes to finances, which is one of the most important things to be knowledgeable about. So really investing to yourself by learning about finances is honestly the best way to invest your time, because the more you learn about finances, the more control you can have over it. Me personally, I don't think middle class people are broke because they're lazy. They're not knowledgeable about these money traps, and they don't really think about them. So if you started to think about these money traps and try to avoid them, then I think that you can definitely turn your situation around and have more money at the end of the month to invest, to have fun, to go on trips. You have to break the cycle and learn how money works. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.